Hello everyone, this is Sonic Fiend with my quick impressions video about Bandai Namco Entertainment's latest and greatest entry into the fighting game genre, Pokkén Tournament. Now this game isn't brand new, it's been in Japanese arcades for a little while now, but it's actually just made its way over here to the west at Dave & Buster's Times Square location in New York City, which, at the time of this recording, is the only place you'll be able to try it out in the United States. Now first things first, the graphics. What you're watching now is the opening movie to the game, which demos whenever no one's actually using the machine. But the graphics in-game are almost one-to-one on par with what you're seeing now, and it is just so amazingly beautiful. Bandai Namco's really just blown me out of the water, pardon the pun, with just how great this game looks. Just, you can see every last strand of fur on Suikun's body, or in this case, every last raging bicep on Machamp's 4 arms. Just, I knew this game was going to look great from all the promotional art and Japanese videos I've seen, but seeing it up close is just such a visual feast. Interestingly enough, this game is not actually played with an arcade stick. Instead you get this joypad looking thing, which I assume will correspond to the Wii U gamepad and Pro Controller when the game eventually hits consoles in the spring of next year. Press B to jump, R to guard, and your attack buttons are Y, X, and A respectively. Those are light, heavy, and special. You press a direction with correspondence with the attack buttons, you actually do different things. And the A button are actually moves that the Pokemon would actually learn in the RPGs. For example, Lucario's standing A is Aura Sphere, and forward A is Bone Rush. Movement in this game is more akin to the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games, which is interesting to me because this is counted as an entry in the Tekken series. I'm not sure if that was intentional from the get-go, but I think the game's going to be a lot better for it. Now you press the L button to throw down your support Pokemon. In this case, Fennekin creates a shield with Ember. And you build up your gauge from the bottom left by attacking, being attacked, or collecting these crystals that randomly drop along the battlefield. If you press L and R once the gauge is full, you get to enter your Mega Evolution, or a Hyper State if the Pokemon doesn't have a Mega Evolution of their own. Once in that state, you press L and R once more to use your ultimate attack. What should be noted is that using your ultimate does not deplete the rest of your burst gauge, which means you can enter your Mega Form, or Hyper State, use your ultimate attack, and still retain that state until the gauge depletes, therefore allowing you to either finish your opponent off quickly or just apply more pressure. This woman here is your professor or guide to the game, and she's just quickly explaining that with the Bandai Namco Passport, you can level up your Pokemon in any way you see fit, as well as customize your trainer avatar. Now that's interesting to me because that means you can, boost your Pokemon's attack or raise the defense just like in the actual game with complete control over that. As opposed to, hoping you get the best IVs like in the RPGs. I think that's gonna be great, but at the same time, I could see this being something akin to Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, where once the game reaches the American competitive scene, they're gonna outright ban that sort of equipment and just keep your Pokemon as vanilla as possible for the sake of creating tiers and what have you. Now a little about the world of Pokkén. This game takes place in a region called the Farum region, which specializes all around one-on-one Pokemon battling. You have your main central hub, which is in this game called Neo City, and the town surrounding that. But there are also a lot of visually appealing stages, or visually interesting, I should say, like this aquatic dome that has water Pokemon swimming around you as you fight in it. And while it may or may not be shown in this video, is a stage called the Reggie Ruins, which actually has a broken stone statue of Registeel in the background. Now, a big opportunity I could see for this, which I hope that Bandai Namco capitalizes on, is when the full console game comes out, or maybe they'll update it in arcades too, they could add in stages from the mainstream games, like say, Saffron City, Ecruteak Town, Indigo Plateau, Jubilife City, Verdanderf Town, and just, you know, other fan favorites. And if they wind up doing that, I'll be all for it. Now, one more thing I want to give mention to is that the Pokemon themselves have their own types. And I don't mean like, you know, obviously Pikachu's an electric type, but they seem to have their own gameplay styles. For example, Pikachu and Lucario are standard fighters, which are, I guess you can equate to the reuse of the game. They're Pokemon that people pick when they're playing it for the first time. They do well in close quarters combat and are usually equipped with a projectile for long range attacks. The power types are usually slower but have damage output so high that when boosted by Eevee's helping hand assist, will actually let them use special moves that take upwards to a third or quarter of your health. The speed type likes to employ a lot of hit and run tactics. They're usually equipped with moves that let them get in, deal some damage, and then run away for the opponent can counterattack. And lastly, the technique Pokemon are, as they're implied, a lot more technical. And from what I've seen, they specialize in, like, being masters of spacing. They have area of effect moves. The gameplay is great, but if there's one thing I have to criticize the controls about, it's that 360-degree directional movement is just not really suited to a D-pad. Now, I know the director's gone on record in an interview saying that this joypad was made specifically so that little kids and those new to fighting games could just jump in and play, but would a control stick really have hurt them that badly? I want to close out this video by giving big thanks to Dave & Buster's for having such a good, strong working relationship with Bandai Namco Entertainment, which is what allowed us to actually get Pokkén Tournament over here in the West, as well as Tekken 7 before either of those games hit the consoles. Huger thanks to my good friend RebelGamer for letting me borrow her phone so I could capture some of this footage. I do it myself, but my phone is an old, archaic piece of junk with a 3.2 megapixel camera, which is just unacceptable by today's standards of smartphones. Lastly, I want to thank all of you for watching and listening to this fiend ramble on for around near 7 minutes. But now the floor is open to you guys. What Pokemon do you want to see appear in Pokkén Tournament? Be it playable character, an assist, or if you have any stage ideas, throw them at me too. And if you make your voice loud enough, it just might be heard by the folks at Bandai Namco, because that is how Gengar got in after all. Gengar was a fan-voted fighter. And before I go, let me leave you guys with a tip. If you decide to come out to Dave & Buster's here in Times Square to try out the game for yourself, I highly recommend that you do it on a Wednesday, because that's when all of the games are half off. It won't cost you as much money to fuel their credits card. I believe $5 is around 24 credits, and that should net you about 7 or 8 games on a Wednesday. Anyway, I have been Sonic Fiend, and have a great day, everybody.